The Hebrews studied astronomy very carefully because of their intense need for accurate dates and keeping the festivals. So remember, before the Babylonian captivity, Abba was telling them. Abba was telling them when to do stuff. You see that? Abba, right? But then after the Babylonian captivity, they were very desperate. It says very careful because of their intense need for accurate dates. It sounds like you're longing for your father because you is intense. I have to know the right day. I got to know the right day. When is Passover? When is this? When? I got to know the right day because guess what? Because the Father is not talking. But guess what he left us? The Spirit. So now we don't got to have the right day. Because every day we can worship. See that? We don't got to have I don't got to have the right day because what we going to do on that day? What we going to do? We're going to gather together. We're going to eat and we're going to read scripture or something like I do that every day. Every time I eat, I pray. Every time I ask him to bless this meal, bless this food, right? You can come over today, tomorrow. You ain't got to wait till the festival. You can come over. I can go on live anytime. We can praise and worship anytime we want to. And that's the point. But back then, because Abba wasn't talking, they were so used to Abba, remember? They was used to talking to Abba, But now, no more Abba. So, of course, it says they were in their intense need for accurate dates and keeping the festivals. For instance, in the month of Deuteronomy 16:1, Yahuwah said, keep the month of Aviv. See? Of Aviv. See? But that it didn't say that back then. They gave that word. That word Aviv comes from the Babylonian time. So they have incorporated that inside of scripture. Okay, come on now. The Ruach is exposing it all, baby. It's exposing it all. And the only reason why the Ruach is exposing these things is so that you could be free. You could be, why are you getting bound back up, baby, when you could be free? No, he don't want you to be bound up. He wants you to be free and strong. Because see, when you're bound by festivals and times and dates and like that, you have not been transformed. You haven't, because you in control. You worried about this. You got to get this. They are this. No. You surrender and all things will be put on to you. It's nothing for you to have to do. And this is where religion stops. Religion don't want you to be free like that because then you could be free to do what you want to do for real, for real. You would be like, I'm not going to be in debt slavery. I'm not going to be in any kind of slavery. I'm going to be free. I'm going to live off the land. I'm going to go get me a cottage and I'm going to live out there in the woods. And I ain't going to be part of this system no more. And I'm going to live off of the land. I'm going to eat my own food and hunt for my own food, plant my own food and be free. It's just be me and Abba and my family and whatnot. I don't need no car. I don't need no money. I don't need nothing. I will build my house. I will go get water. I will do the things I need to do to survive out here. I'm free. I ain't scared enough. I ain't scared no animal. I got dominion over every animal. I ain't scared of starving because I don't need but a little bit of bread. And more bread I need is the word. And I'm all filled up in that. So I don't really need a whole lot of food to survive. I'm just telling you that you could be free. You could be free. Okay, so it says, because of this, it was necessary for the Hebrews to become very acquainted with the position of the sun. Sound like a sun worship. Because that's what those other religions are actually doing. They worshiping the moon, but you can't worship the moon without the sun. So then Christianity was like, okay, well, the sun is really the sun. It's not the son of the Most High. It's really the sun.
So Jesus, as we adore him, he's being shown to us. And if you look at the monstrance, you'll see that it's gold and it shines kind of like the sun. And so what's happening here is that Jesus, truly present in the Blessed Sacrament, he's radiating his life and his love upon all of us as we gaze upon him. And it's almost like sitting out in the sun. You can't really perceive the difference, but in time, we're bronzed, tanned with the sun. And it's like that in prayer. We just sit before Jesus and his love, we bask in his love and he pours his love out upon us. And so the monstrance shows us, it shines that love upon you.
Get it? Because that practice comes from Egypt. And that's what your Christianity They're really sun worshiping, and they don't realize they sun worshiping. They think they worshiping the S-O-N, but they really worshiping the S-U-N. See there? And it says right here, because of this, it was necessary for the Hebrews to become very acquainted with the position of the sun. And then the Edomites, right, started to look at the position of the sun. And then that, you see, that's how that other religion started to come past, Christianity, right? When the sun worship religion, which stems all the way from Nimrod and Semiramis. It's so deep of the foolishness. Now it says background of the Jewish calendar. It says the Jewish calendar is a lunar solar, just like the ancient Macedonian, Babylonian, Egyptian, and Chinese calendars. Corresponding with all of the lunar calendars means that the Jewish calendar is in sync with the natural cycles of the moon and the sun. That's the reason why the Hebrews studied the phases of the moon so intensely. They did not do that, because if they did that, they would have been following it correctly, and they wasn't following correctly. You see what I'm saying now? Testament written in the book of Exodus that the Jewish have used a lunar solar calendar even since they departed Egypt. It's believed that the first commandment of the Jewish people received as a nation was to determine the new moon. The month names of the modern Hebrew calendar were derived from the Babylonian calendar, dating back to the 6th century BCE during the Babylonian exile. The Jewish calendar was mainly used to establish dates for holidays where the corresponding portions of the Torah were read to the public. But following the destruction of the Second Temple in 70 CE, it wasn't as easy for people to meet and listen to these passages. As a result, the Sanhedrin, you know what the Sanhedrin is? Do y'all know what that is? Or do I need to go into detail about that? Established a fixed rule-based form of the calendar. Maimonides fully describes the modern Hebrew calendar around the year 1178 CD. Now, what's his name? His name is Maimonides. His full name is Moses ben Maimonides, right? Mayadan. That's his full name. He discovered the Egyptian calendar, and he is a Sephardic Jew. Now remember, the Sephardic Jews are your Spanish. They're your Spanish Jews. They say that some of them were exiled from Babylon. So remember, the northern tribes went into the Assyrian captivity, and Assyrian captivity is in Japheth's land, is in like Europe and that whole area, Russia, Europe, Ukraine, and stuff like that. So they're saying that they were exiled into that area after the captivity, and they stayed with those people. They didn't come back to Israel. They stayed where they were. And a lot of them moved into Spain. Right? They moved out over there into Europe, into Spain and Rome and stuff like that. That's where they moved. And they call them the Sephardic Jews, right? Because they got mixed. Now remember, in order to be a Hebrew, you can't mix. Your offspring has to go back into Hebrew for 3 to 4 generations to really be considered a Hebrew. So you got to think they're not really Hebrews after they have mixed with with Spain. You see what I'm saying? If they mix with Spain one time, that's fine, but they would have to go back into Hebrew. But they didn't come back into Israel. They stayed in Spain and kept mixing with the Spaniards. And that's why when Paul went there, you know, he was really trying to teach them the way of Yahuwah and teach them about Yahusha, because they were still following the Torah. They didn't know. They didn't get the memo about the change, right? However, continue on with this article. However, Persian astronomers Al-Khwarizmi 7080 to 8050 CE claimed that the features of the modern day version were created in the 9th century. So here we don't even know whether it was the 9th century or was it the 11th century. We don't know, because they don't even know when this all started, right? Which is questionable, right? When was the year one? According to the Hebrews time reckoning, we are currently in the 6th millennium. The Hebrew year count starts in the year of 3761 BCE, before the Common Era. The practice was implemented in the 12th century when the Jewish philosopher Maimonides established the time frame as the biblical date of creation. So now here we taking all of these holidays, the Jewish festivals, all of this is really coming from one man. And his name ain't Yahusha or Yahuwah.